well, I couldn't find anyone near me that was a good one, so I just went with the one the doctor gave me. So I went back to the doctor, and she told me just go ahead and before I went back to the doctor, I did these tests through Walk-In Lab, and I did an FSH test and some other tests related to endocrinology, and it showed that I had elevated amounts of SSH, and I was hoping that she would send me to an endocrinologist so to check for the FSH, but also to check for my low blood pressure, but she refused to get me with one. So, and I also read online that in order to have a brain MRI done, some of these other tests, the neurologist would typically have you go be checked with the endocrinologist first. So I had months to wait till I would see the neurologist, months. And my blood pressure was just jumping up and down, so I decided to take matters in my own hands, and since the doctor wanted, and I decided to do some tests. This is self-diagnosing yourself. Now, I strongly suggest before you do any tests, you get all your medical records from your doctor, whatever you can, and find out what tests you've had done before. This will help save you some money so that you don't end up redoing tests. Now, your condition could have problems that have come up this specific year, but usually when you have tests done, usually the test they do is on a test. And this tests a lot of things having to do with your iron deficiency and your hemoglobins, hemocytes, that kind of thing. You need to look at, when you self-diagnose yourself, you need to look at, okay, what is my problem? So let's say you're having muscle aches, right? So you research on that. Muscle aches. Fatigue. Muscle aches, fatigue. Let's say it's in your arms. Right? Well, you're going to come across all kinds of websites. You read through the websites, you know what I mean? This is what a lot of the doctors would do. And not all websites, not one single website will tell you everything. You want to find the ones that tell you the most. And then you go on these sites, and then you want to find out, once you find out different causes of it, what can cause it to happen, then you start researching on the diagnosis for how you can diagnose. When you research on the diagnosis, you'll come across tests you can do, including health tests. Now, some of these muscle pains and stuff, you might not be able to have any blood tests or urine tests you can do through it. But Walk-In Labs has a lot of them, and they have these home test kits you can do, which shows a lot. Now, Ultra Labs is even cheaper, and also here, if you want to cancel a test before you do it, you can cancel it really easily, right? And you look up places nearest to you, find out where you can have the lab test done, right? And so but make sure you go through your medical records first, and find out what the tests do in the records you had done before, so you don't end up accidentally redoing a test that you don't have to have done. That's really important. And also, if you have a really serious condition, like if you have a pain in your lower left side or your upper left side, then you should go to the doctor. I suggest going to a clinic. They're more likely to help you than going to ER. ERs are way too expensive. So, but if you have enough time on your hands, self-diagnosing yourself is cheap. Sometimes Ultra Lab has these discounts. See, for example, I got a discount 20% on this test, and the Ultra Labs is usually cheaper than what you can get it through your normal labs in the first place, because some reason they usually jack up the price for a test, probably so they can get more money out of it. Sometimes you can find a test that's similar but cheaper. For example, the let's go here, the Repine test, right? I'm going to search this up. This is not $249, but you can do a catecholamine test for, see, $189, even cheaper. Catecholamine fractionated plasma test, which is, I mean, this has some stuff. That's the creatine with it, and it has a few more markers, right? But this is similar test to norepinephrine test, and you can have it tested for a lot cheaper. You don't need all this other stuff, right? But it can be tested for $91. And that would be the cost that you get it for if you got through your insurance. Unless you have a really good insurance that pays for completely for the test. Usually they only pay for like half the test or something, if that even. So, I mean, we're talking about self-diagnosing. I'm not a doctor, but let's face it, doctors nowadays are super lazy. They're not gonna. If you have a really good doctor that's willing to work with you, you're lucky. Let's put it that way. Most doctors in America are super lazy because they know that when you go in to see them, they can get by with it. They can do whatever they want. They'll just do whatever, the minimal amount, and you have to pay them to go in for their visit. Same goes for ER. You have to pay them to go into their visit. Sometimes even if you go to ER and you feel really sick with it, right? They'll do certain basic tests, but then they'll push you out, and you're paying a lot of money for going in there. Typical ER will cost anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 for that little visit. What do they do for you? They do very little for you. I've had to go to ER a couple of times in the past because I had super serious health conditions, and I'm telling you, I hate ERs. I really hate ERs. Go to a clinic instead, but if you can avoid going to either one of them and just doing self-diagnosis until you can get a new doctor, then go ahead and do it, and use sites like this. And there's probably other sites you can use, but save yourself money and time. Because also the thing with doctors is the doctor they'll take their time. Well, let's have this test done. Then they'll have you come in and talk about the test. And let's have this test done. I'm pretty mad because I found out this year I have anemia, and there's a bunch of other tests that doctor could have done on me to really pinpoint the anemia that I have, and which causes me to have paler skin than when I should have at least. Especially since I'm a mixed race person. I'm actually less European than I am. Other groups from other countries. But anyway, yeah, there's all kinds of tests they could have had done on me, and they didn't do. It was just common sense tests. Even a family physician could have had done on. So I'm saying, like, if you have even kind of little problems, your doctor's not willing to help you, go through a self-diagnosis. There are a lot of tests you can't have done, though. Which I'll describe in the next video.